Let's continue our lesson in VBox. So a common missing function is a lack of restricted folder and file access. Let's see what we can enumerate with dir-b, which attempts to access web directories by name using a word list. We'll use the F switch to eliminate 404 responses, only showing 200 responses from the server, indicating successful HTTP connections. dir-b, IP address of VBox, -F. Okay. We see here we have direct access to many folders and files that should be restricted to authorized and authenticated individuals. Instead, they're available publicly to anybody that has access to the web server. Now we'll be covering remote and local file inclusion, or RFI and LFI. This falls under the umbrella of broken access control. What is RFI and LFI? These vulnerabilities generally pertain to PHP and allow attackers to arbitrarily execute files either locally or remotely in an unauthorized fashion. Let's go to remote and local file inclusion under missing functional level access control. Let's see what happens when I click go. Okay, we get a language parameter. Let's test to see if this parameter is vulnerable to LFI. I'm going to replace that with etc password. Good. We get the output here of the etc password file. And this is because etc password is on the local file system of VBox. Now let's demonstrate RFI. We'll be generating a PHP reverse shell with MSF Venom and using RFI to make VBox execute the remote file and connect back to Kali Linux to establish a reverse shell. First, we need to generate a payload with MSF Venom. Here's a command I already have typed out. I'm going to select a payload of PHP, the interpreter reverse TCP. The local host is the IP address of my Kali Linux box, local port of 4446. That's the port that's going to be connected back from VBox. File output of raw, and I'm going to output it to a file name of evil.txt in the var www HTML folder, which is the web root for Kali Linux. Now let's make sure Apache is running because we're going to need that service up so we can connect to it from VBox. So service Apache 2 start. Good. Now let's go to MSF console to start Metasploit. Use exploit multi-handler. Set L port 4446, that's the port that was specified in the payload we generated. Set L host, the host of Kali Linux. Set payload, PHP, interpreter, reverse TCP. Run. Now let's access the malicious payload back on Kali. As you see here, instead of accessing a local file, we're reaching out to the Kali Linux IP address here and evil.txt. Alright, so we've established a interpreter session. So let's just change to a shell. We have an interactive shell, but it is not fully interactive, so let's use a Python one-liner to spawn a TTY shell. Good. All right, so let's just see, who am I? We are the www-data user, but we can easily escalate privileges as we'll demonstrate later.